Welcome back. Today, we explore some of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. Today, we're diving into the world of copper wheat pennies, coins that could potentially make you a millionaire. First up, the 1927 Abraham Lincoln. Wheat. 1 cent with a D mint mark is a prized collector's item in the world of numismatics. This coin is part of the Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which was struck from 1909 to 1958. The 1927 wheat penny holds particular significance due to the historical context surrounding its creation. The year 1927 was a pivotal moment in American history, marked by significant economic growth during the Roaring Twenties, as well as political stability under President Calvin Coolidge. This era saw the expansion of industrialization and the consumer economy, which would soon be disrupted by the Great Depression in the following decade. The 1927 coin was minted in large numbers across multiple minting facilities, including Philadelphia, without a mint mark, Denver denoted by the D mint mark, and San Francisco denoted by the S mint mark. The mintage of the 1927 D coin, however, was relatively smaller than that of the Philadelphia variety, adding to its scarcity and desirability among collectors. In total, 47,222,000 1927 D Lincoln wheat pennies were struck. This large mintage typically makes the coin less rare when compared to other years in the wheat penny series. However, when found in higher grades or specific conditions, this coin can command substantial premiums. Despite the large mintage, a key factor in determining a 1927 D penny's value is its condition. Pennies in circulated conditions, which are more common, tend to have lower market values than those in mint state, but they still represent a valuable part of American coinage history. The design of the 1927 wheat penny is what makes it so iconic in the world of American coinage. Brenner's portrait of Lincoln is one of the most recognized images in U.S. numismatics. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was struck in Denver, and it plays a significant role in determining the value of the coin. When considering the overall coin market, a penny from the Denver Mint will generally fetch a higher value than its Philadelphia counterpart due to its lower production volume in certain years. The 1927 D is no exception, with higher-grade examples being highly sought after. Collectors are drawn to the 1927 D wheat penny for several reasons. First, it is a staple coin in the wheat penny series, which is known for its long-standing history and unique designs. Second, while not as rare as some other dates in the series, the 1927 D is still a sought-after coin for those completing a Lincoln wheat penny collection. In terms of market value, the 1927 D wheat penny in circulated condition typically hovers around the $40,000 range, depending on the severity of wear. A coin that has visible details, even with wear, will generally fetch higher than one with considerable damage. Coins with a higher level of preservation, such as very fine or extremely fine, can increase in value significantly, reaching anywhere from $42,000 at auction. The real value for collectors comes in the higher grades. In uncirculated MS-60 or higher, this coin can see prices range between $50,000 depending on the level of preservation and overall eye appeal. The most pristine examples of the 1927 D wheat penny in mint state 65 or higher can command prices upwards of $58,000 or more. The value of this coin has remained relatively stable over the years, largely due to its desirability among collectors who seek high-quality examples of common dates with mint marks. Auction results show that the 1927 D remains a solid investment for numismatists who want to add a well-known piece of American currency to their collection. The 1927 D wheat penny does not have a notable variety or error associated with it that adds significant value. However, it is always worth checking for any anomalies, such as die cracks, double strikes, or off-center strikes, which can make the coin even more valuable to collectors. These types of errors are rare, but when found, they can drastically increase the value of the coin beyond what is typical for a coin in circulated condition. Other factors that might affect the value include the coin's color, which may change due to environmental exposure. For example, a coin with a deep reddish-brown hue is more desirable than one that has turned dull brown over time. To summarize the 1927 D Abraham Lincoln, Wheat penny is a significant and valuable piece in American numismatics. While it may not be as rare as other years, its status as part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny series, its historical relevance and its higher grade potential make it a must-have for serious collectors. Whether you're looking to complete your wheat penny collection or seeking a valuable coin to invest in, the 1927D is a coin with substantial market value and long-term collectors. Next up, we have the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a large date and a D mint mark. The 1956 D penny is another fascinating coin from the Lincoln Wheat series, with a rich history and intriguing design features. This coin, while more common than some of its counterparts, has seen a rise in value, especially for higher-grade examples. The year 1956 holds particular importance in U.S. history. It was a year of post-World War II economic prosperity, characterized by an expanding middle class and a booming consumer culture. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was in office, and the U.S. was beginning to feel the effects of the Cold War while also experiencing a period of technological advancements and growth in the space race. In terms of coin production, the 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck in large quantities. A total of 1,110,695,000 1956 D wheat pennies were minted, making it one of the more common years in the series. Despite the massive mintage, these coins are still highly sought after due to their role in U.S. history and their iconic design. The 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny features the well-known obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the coin depicts 2 ears of wheat, further enhancing its association with the country's agricultural heritage. The most distinctive feature of the 1956 penny is the large date. In 1956, the U.S. Mint used a larger date on the coin, which has become a defining characteristic of that year. This slight alteration in design has made the 1956 large date variety a favorite among collectors. The mint mark D indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, contributing to its value in certain market conditions. Collectors find the 1956 D wheat penny appealing for several reasons. First, it is part of the larger Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which is one of the most popular and collected series in U.S. coinage. Second, the large date variety gives this coin a unique aspect, differentiating it from the other pennies of the era. The 1956 D wheat penny in circulated condition typically falls within the $20,000 range, depending on wear and preservation. However, in higher grades, such as very fine or extremely fine, its value can increase significantly. In these grades, the value can range from $26,000 at auction, depending on the level of detail and the condition of the coin. Coins that are graded as MS-60 or higher can see a noticeable spike in market value. For instance, a coin in MS-65 or better can command prices upwards of $33,000. However, the most valuable examples are those with exceptional color and toning, as collectors prize pennies that have retained their original copper hues or have developed attractive color tones over time. Similar to the 1927 D penny, the 1956 D coin doesn't have any major varieties or errors that are commonly found. However, coins that display error, features like die cracks, double dies, or off-center strikes are highly valued by collectors who specialize in minting errors. These types of anomalies can push the value of the coin well beyond its typical market price. The 1956 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, with its large date design and D mint mark, holds great significance in the world of American coinage. While it's more abundant than rarer years in the series, the coin remains highly collectible, especially when found in higher grades or exhibiting unique error features. Its historical relevance and place in the iconic Lincoln Wheat Penny series continue to make it a favorite among collectors, and its market value reflects the enduring interest in U.S. coins from the mid-20th century. Next up, the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that, despite its relatively modest mintage, has captured the attention of collectors and investors alike. The 1936 Wheat Penny is part of the iconic series of Lincoln cents that were minted from 1909 to 1958. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series is known for its distinct design and is particularly celebrated for its historical connection to President Abraham Lincoln. This coin, in particular, is an excellent representation of what makes the Lincoln Wheat series so valuable today. First, let's set the stage by understanding the time period in which the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Cent was minted. The 1930s were a tumultuous time in American history. The country was still reeling from the effects of the Great Depression. Unemployment was high, and the stock market crash of 1929 had devastated the nation's economy. Despite these struggles, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins, including the Lincoln Wheat Cent. The obverse of this coin features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, sculpted by Victor David Brenner. Brenner's design, with its strong, dignified profile of Lincoln, has remained one of the most recognizable portraits in U.S. numismatics. The reverse of the coin showcases two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the nation's agricultural roots, which is why these coins are often referred to as wheat pennies. The 1936 year specifically falls in the middle of the Great Depression, and there were no significant design changes from the previous years. However, this coin is notable for its production number, which was fairly high, but it was still impacted by the economic conditions of the time. The 1936 Lincoln Wheat Cent was minted in a staggering quantity, with more than 200 million coins produced. Despite its large mintage, the coin in circulated condition, especially in a dirty or well-worn state, can still carry substantial value in today's market. So, why is this coin still commanding such attention and price tags? The value of a 1936 Lincoln Wheat Cent, even in circulated and dirty condition, can vary based on several factors, including its overall rarity, demand, and the market trends at the time. While a coin in average circulated condition might only fetch a few dollars, rare or higher-grade versions, such as those with full mint luster or no signs of wear, could go for hundreds of dollars. A coin in dirty condition, though not the most desirable for collectors, still holds value due to its historical significance, as it's a piece of American numismatic history. Some specific editions of the 1936 penny, especially those with uncirculated or well-preserved surfaces, have been known to sell for far more at auction, particularly when it's placed into the hands of passionate collectors who understand its rarity and condition. Now, let's talk about some of the design features that make this coin stand out in a collector's eyes. The 1936 Lincoln penny doesn't feature any significant design changes from earlier years, but there are some subtleties worth noting. The Lincoln portrait on the obverse is encircled by the words Liberty and the date 1936, with the phrase, "In God We Trust," inscribed above. The reverse shows the famous wheat stalks with E pluribus unum above and United States of America below, all encircling the words 1 cent. As for errors, it's important to note that the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Cent does not have any particularly rare or notable errors in comparison to some other coins in the series. However, some coins from this era exhibit slight imperfections, such as die cracks or off-center strikes, which can add a premium for error collectors. Those in the know actively seek out these varieties, which can dramatically increase the value of an otherwise typical coin. Collectors are increasingly interested in the 1936 Lincoln Wheat Penny for a number of reasons. Its design, the historical context of its release, and the large number of coins in circulation contribute to its status as a sought-after coin. Coins in dirty condition might not fetch the highest prices, but they are still important to many collectors who focus on assembling complete series from each decade. This coin's market value has grown over time, and demand continues as collectors look for ways to complete their wheat penny collections. As for future market value, we can predict that the 1936 penny will likely remain a staple in many collections, especially in well-preserved condition, even if coins in circulated and dirty states may see a slight decrease in price due to the preference for higher quality coins. However, these coins will always hold historical importance and interest. Next up, we have the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a large date and no mint mark. This coin, minted near the end of World War II, represents a different era in American history. By 1945, The country was on the brink of peace after years of global conflict, and this coin is a reminder of those pivotal times. Let's break down its value, design, and collector appeal. 1945 was a pivotal year in history. World War II was finally coming to a close, and the U.S. was transitioning from a wartime economy to a peacetime one. The country had been on a war footing for years, and the year 1945 marks the end of one of the most significant wars in modern history. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, struck in a climate of optimism, represents a period of transition. While the country was celebrating the end of the war, it was also beginning to adjust to the realities of peacetime. The design of the 1945 Lincoln cent, like its predecessors, features Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, but it also reflects the spirit of the times. Over 430 million Lincoln wheat pennies were struck in 1945, with a large portion produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why this coin typically has no mint mark. While this large mintage number might suggest a common coin, the value can still be considerable in circulated condition, especially when factors like coin grade, rarity, and collector demand come into play. Coins in circulated condition, especially those that are well-worn or have been used heavily over the years, still find significant demand. In most cases, these coins will fetch anywhere from a few dollars to upwards of $17,200, depending on factors like the amount of wear, the condition of the coin, and whether it shows any unusual markings. Coins with large date varieties can command slightly higher values, particularly if they exhibit minimal damage. The design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is typical for the series. The obverse features the classic image of Abraham Lincoln, with the words Liberty and the date. 1945 surrounding his portrait. The reverse showcases the iconic wheat stalks, along with United States of America and e pluribus unum above and 1 cent below. Although the 1945 coin doesn't have major errors, some collectors look for die varieties in this year's production. The large date variety, which is the focus of this script, is more prominent than the small date variety, and that distinction adds a layer of intrigue and value for collectors who specialize in these subtleties. As with many coins, slight die cracks, off-center strikes, or even doubled dies could appear on some examples, increasing their collector appeal. Collector interest in the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, especially the large date version, remains high. It's a piece of history from the end of World War II, and as with many coins from this era, there is a sense of nostalgia tied to it. Coins in circulated condition, while not the highest in value, continue to be important to collectors who focus on completing a set of every year from the wheat cent series. Given the historical significance of 1945, especially considering its context during the end of World War II, there will likely always be interest in these coins. Although they may not skyrocket in value in the short term, they will likely remain steady in the market for years to come. Next up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with a D mint mark, specifically in dirty condition. Now, you might be wondering how a coin with dirt and grime could still hold any value. But when it comes to numismatics, condition is just one part of the equation. Let's break it down, starting with the historical background. The 1952 Lincoln wheat penny is part of the long-running series that was minted from 1909 to 1958. Designed by the famous engraver Victor David Brenner, the design features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse, symbolizing the country's agricultural strength. In 1952, this coin was produced during a time of post-war economic recovery, and it was minted at several facilities across the country, including the Denver Mint, which is why some coins from this year feature the D mint mark. The total mintage for the 1952 penny is estimated to be around 1.1 billion coins, an exceptionally high number, which usually means the coin wouldn't be considered rare. However, the story changes when we look at the condition and the overall market interest. While the 1952 penny in general is not rare, the value of this particular coin, especially in dirty condition, can still be significant due to factors like collector demand, scarcity of high-grade examples, and the unique characteristics of dirty coins. Some collectors specifically look for coins with natural aging, including patina, dirt, and wear, which give them a more authentic, vintage feel. In this case, dirty doesn't necessarily mean worthless. Sometimes it actually adds to the character of the coin. The current market value of a 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark in dirty condition can vary, but typically it could range anywhere from $9,900 depending on the extent of the dirt, the overall wear, and how desirable the coin is to specific buyers. If the coin is particularly well worn, collectors looking for a real piece of history might still bid higher on these coins, especially if they can't easily find high-quality examples of the same coin. Collector interest for these coins, especially for those that have unique characteristics like dirt or a well-worn surface, has been rising. As people become more interested in collecting coins that tell a story, those with imperfections, even in dirty condition, can be seen as more historically significant. So while you might think dirty coins wouldn't fetch a high price, it's actually a common misconception in the hobby. In fact, dirty coins can be quite valuable if they have that authentic aged look that collectors often crave. The 1952 penny, while not particularly rare in terms of mintage, does have a couple of key design features that collectors pay attention to. The obverse features the bust of Abraham Lincoln, which was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate Lincoln's 100th birthday. His image was created by Victor David Brenner, and while it has gone through some changes over the years, the basic design remains a constant in U.S. coinage. This design remained unchanged until 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny is one of the last few years in this famous series. One aspect that can push the value of any coin higher is the potential for errors. However, there are no major minting errors associated with the 1952 D Wheat penny that would significantly increase its value in this dirty condition. It is, however, important to mention that coins with noticeable minting mistakes or die variations such as double strikes or misalignments do tend to be worth more, even in lower grades. In today's market, a typical 1952 D penny in dirty condition will generally see moderate value. But should it be cleaned, or if it is too heavily worn, its market value may drop. Coins that are not cleaned and have retained their patina can fetch more from collectors looking for natural aged coins. So why does a coin like this matter to collectors? First, the historical context is crucial. Many collectors focus on Lincoln cents due to their rich history and association with one of America's most famous presidents. Additionally, the 1952 penny has specific collector appeal because it falls toward the end of the Lincoln Wheat series before the design change in 1959. Collectors also look for pennies in various stages of wear, and sometimes the dirty coins are the ones that stand out the most because of their authenticity. For some, a coin that has been passed down through generations or has an old, worn look to it is far more appealing than a mint-condition coin that looks brand new. In conclusion, the value of the 1952 Lincoln Wheat penny with a D mint mark in dirty condition can still be quite significant, ranging between $10,000 depending on the specific coin and auction circumstances. While it's not as rare as other coins, its place in the market is solid, and collectors appreciate its rich history. Next up, let's talk about the 1924 Lincoln Wheat penny without a mint mark, which is another fascinating coin with historical significance and unique market value. This coin, despite its black, dirty appearance, holds a very special place among collectors, and in today's auction market, it can fetch a considerable amount, especially depending on its condition. The 1924 Lincoln Wheat penny is part of the long-running wheat cent series, which was first issued in 1909 and ran all the way through 1958. Like the 1952 penny we just discussed, the 1924 coin was designed by Victor David Brenner and features Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse. However, the 1924 penny differs from the 1952 penny in terms of its historical context. The early 1920s was a period of significant change for the U.S., as the country was transitioning from World War I into the Roaring '20s. The economy was booming, and the nation was seeing rapid industrialization, but this period also marked the beginning of the Great Depression, which would follow just a few years later. In 1924, the total mintage for the Lincoln Wheat cent was approximately 80 million coins, which is a relatively low number when compared to the billions minted in the 1950s. The 1924 coin has become increasingly valuable as it is less common in high-grade condition, and this rarity is one of the driving factors behind its collector appeal. The absence of a mint mark on this coin tells us it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the vast majority of coins without a mint mark. The design of the coin is characteristic of the wheat penny series, with Lincoln's image on the front and the ears of wheat on the reverse. In terms of market value, a 1924 penny without a mint mark in dirty condition can still fetch anywhere from $50,600 depending on factors such as the extent of the dirt and wear. Even in this condition, the coin's historical significance and lower mintage make it highly sought after by collectors. The black dirt that often accumulates on these coins might make them seem unattractive at first glance, but for some collectors, it adds to the charm and authenticity of the piece. Unlike the 1952 penny, there are no significant minting errors associated with the 1924 Lincoln wheat penny. However, any coin that has a unique feature, such as unusual wear or distinctive dirt patterns, can become more interesting to collectors. Error coins, even with minor issues like double die errors or misstrikes, tend to draw more attention from the market and can greatly increase a coin's value, even if it's in a lower grade. Collecting error coins is an entire niche in itself, and collectors who specialize in these types of coins often seek out specific flaws or abnormalities that make a coin stand out. For the 1924 Lincoln wheat penny, while there are no major error varieties, some collectors may still find unique features in the blackened, dirty coins that they find appealing. In conclusion, the 1924 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark in black dirty condition, has a unique appeal, especially due to its lower mintage and the intriguing patina and dirt that often accumulates on older coins. While this coin is not incredibly rare in terms of production, it is valuable for collectors due to its historical significance and relatively low mintage. Depending on the condition and specific characteristics of the coin, it can fetch between $60,200 in today's market. Next up, the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny is an iconic coin that often sparks interest among collectors. Known for its place in history and being part of the last few years of the series before the transition to the Lincoln Memorial design, this coin is beloved for its distinctive features. However, when we talk about a 1955 large date penny with a D mint mark, especially one in dirty, rusted condition, the value can fluctuate significantly depending on the specific circumstances of the coin. The year 1955 marked a time of post-war recovery for the United States. President Dwight D. Eisenhower was in office, and the country was experiencing significant economic growth. The 1950s were also marked by technological advancements and a surge in consumer goods production, creating an era of prosperity. The 1955 Lincoln penny, struck by the Denver Mint, features the large date style, where the digits in the year 1955 are noticeably larger compared to other years, which became a notable feature of that era. The 1955 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in large quantities. Over 1,001,955 pennies were struck, making it a relatively common coin in terms of production. However, it's important to note that even in large quantities, not all coins from this era were kept in pristine condition. Many were spent, worn down, or damaged, which plays a huge role in their modern-day value. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, along with the Liberty inscription and the year 1955 above. The reverse side shows 2 ears of wheat with the inscription E pluribus unum at the top and 1 cent along the bottom. For a coin to command top dollar, collectors often focus on its condition, rarity, and any potential errors. A large portion of this particular coin's interest is due to its large date design. Coins with a smaller date are common, but the large date variety stands out. Though the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny is generally not a high-value coin when in common circulated conditions, the dirty, rusty condition of this particular coin can affect its value in various ways. While rust and dirt are typically seen as imperfections that diminish a coin's worth, certain collectors may appreciate the unique look, especially if it's a rare example with such a heavy corrosion pattern. In a rusty state, it's possible for this coin to hold historical value, potentially due to its surface issues. When it comes to errors, one of the most notable features of this coin is the double die variety, the 1955 doubled die penny. This variety has a doubled image on the date and inscription, which happened due to a minting error. This is not to be confused with the regular 1955 large date, but it is an important distinction for collectors. While our focus here is on the regular 1955 penny with the D mint mark, it's interesting to note how errors can affect the price significantly. In terms of market value, the 1955 Lincoln wheat penny, in a dirty, rusted condition, can be tricky to price. A typical coin in this state may have a lower value than one in fine or uncirculated condition. However, given its rarity, large date design, and potential collector interest, prices can range between $72,000 depending on how the coin is viewed by collectors. Some collectors might also be willing to purchase rusted or dirty examples if they represent a piece of history in a unique state. Auction results often show that collectors who are particularly passionate about Lincoln wheat pennies may see a rusted 1955D as a distinctive piece in their collection. It's important to remember that condition can heavily impact value. If cleaned or restored, the coin's worth may plummet, as collectors often avoid restored coins for fear of losing their historical integrity. Next up, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny is an iconic piece of American numismatic history. Unlike many other years in the Lincoln wheat series, this coin has a unique place because of its widespread circulation and the fact that it was produced in an era of post-World War II economic recovery. The absence of a mint mark on this coin indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the main mint for U.S. coin production at the time. After World War II, the United States entered a period of prosperity, often referred to as the baby boom era. This was a time when the economy was expanding rapidly, people were returning to civilian life, and the demand for goods and services surged. The 1948 penny was a part of this vibrant economic atmosphere. The coin is often considered a reflection of American stability and growth during a time of rebuilding after the war. The 1948 Lincoln wheat penny is part of the early 1940s design that was used from 1909 to 1958 before the shift to the Lincoln Memorial design. While the 1948 penny is not a particularly rare coin in terms of mintage, the absence of a mint mark makes it more interesting to collectors, as Philadelphia-produced coins are less easily distinguished from those produced in other mints. As with other Lincoln wheat pennies, the obverse of the 1948 coin features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, surrounded by the word liberty and the year 1948. The reverse shows the familiar wheat ears and the inscription E pluribus unum with 1 cent below. The Philadelphia Mint is well known for producing large quantities of pennies, and the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny is no exception. However, it's important to note that coin quality in this era was often subpar, and many pennies became damaged through circulation. The dirty condition of the 1948 coin means it may have accumulated dirt, stains, or even minor corrosion, which can impact its aesthetic appeal and value. In terms of market value, a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in dirty condition could have a relatively modest price. Coins in circulated and poor condition typically sell for anywhere between $92,300 depending on factors like rarity, collector demand, and overall appeal. However, it's important to highlight that the market for wheat pennies remains strong, particularly for coins from the early years. The 1948 penny in dirty condition is considered an affordable option for those looking to start their collection without investing a lot of money. Despite its dirty condition, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny is still highly sought after by certain collectors, especially those interested in historical U.S. coinage. Auction results show that a well-maintained example of the 1948 penny can fetch up to $100,000 or more in certain cases, depending on its specific features and demand at the time of sale. Next up, the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny is a particularly interesting coin for collectors, as it marks the tail end of the World War II era. By the time this coin was minted, the United States was transitioning out of wartime production and returning to a more stable economic environment. The design of the Lincoln wheat cent, created by Victor David Brenner, had been in circulation since 1909, featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with two stalks of wheat on the reverse. This simple yet elegant design remains iconic to this day. The 1947 coin was struck during the early post-war years, and like many pennies from that period, it was produced in large numbers, reflecting the nation's need for circulation coins during a time of economic recovery. However, what makes the 1947 penny stand out among the regular production coins is its mintage figures and condition, which we will cover in more detail in a moment. Let's take a quick look at the mintage figures for this year. In total, there were more than 1.2 billion, 1,947 pennies minted across all three mints, with the D mint mark, representing the Denver Mint, producing over 1 billion of these coins. The Philadelphia Mint and San Francisco Mint also struck some of these pennies, but their numbers were significantly lower. These large mintage numbers mean that the 1947 penny is generally not considered rare. However, condition plays a critical role in the value of these coins today. When it comes to design, the obverse features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, surrounded by the words Liberty and the year 1947. The reverse features two stalks of wheat, along with the inscriptions E pluribus unum and United States of America. Above the wheat stalks is the phrase 1 cent, and below, the motto Find Your Dreams completes the look. The D mint mark on this coin represents its production in Denver, where coins were struck with this distinctive mark to indicate their minting location. Denver minted pennies from this time period are generally very common, but collector interest for this particular coin can still be strong, especially when the condition is exceptional. Now, let's talk about the condition. The 1947 Lincoln wheat penny. In question is in a dirty, red, and rusty condition. This may seem like a detractor for some collectors, but believe it or not, coins in less than ideal condition can still hold significant value depending on their rarity, the degree of wear, and their historical appeal. Coins like this one often have oxidation, which leads to the characteristic red rusty appearance. This is caused by the natural reaction of copper to the surrounding environment, which includes moisture, air, and other elements. While this patina can decrease the value of the coin, compared to an example in uncirculated condition, it can still be appreciated by some collectors who value coins with a certain historical character. While the cleaning of such coins is generally discouraged in numismatics, as it can decrease the value further, there are some who specialize in restoring these kinds of coins. However, unless the coin is in extreme condition, it's generally better to leave it in its natural state. Despite its condition, the 1947 Lincoln wheat penny D mint mark can still be valued in the range of $15,000 in dirty red rusted condition, depending on factors like its exact wear and the interest from potential buyers. However, if a collector manages to find an example in better condition, it could command higher amounts. For instance, a well-preserved example could fetch up to $10,400 or more in the right market. While this particular penny may not feature any notable errors, collectors will still find it interesting due to its historical context and the condition in which it was found. Many collectors of wheat pennies appreciate the challenge of assembling a full collection, including coins with varying degrees of wear, such as this rusty specimen. There are also error coins that exist from this era of penny production. For example, coins with double dies or misstrikes can be significantly more valuable, but such examples are rare. If you happen to come across a double die obverse or any other type of minting error on a 1947 penny, expect it to fetch a much higher price.